People old enough to remember life pre-internet, what are some less obvious things you miss about that time? The Sears catalog. That was how I found out about all the cool new toys. The Christmas Witch book. Highlight of the year. Someone replied, I spent hours poring it over, imagining that super cool tent. Or flannel shirt. Thinking about more Lincoln Logs. I miss my video game magazines. The thrill of getting one in the mail, often multiple because I had several different subscriptions, to read up on the next thing coming out, strategies for games that recently came out, and just the fun articles about related material were some of my favorite memories. I miss my Wizard magazine. It was basically all fluff pieces about comics and creators, but it's the one thing that all the comic book documentaries miss on when discussing the celebrity comic book artists/writers of the 90s. Wizard magazine put faces and styles front and center and made them high-profile celebrities. When you bought new music, you just had to hope it was good. The single might be popular, but otherwise, unless someone heard it, you just bought it and hoped for the best. Someone replied, there was so much excitement to going to a CD store to buy an album that you only knew one song of, or the band/artist name, and just listening to that entire CD over and over again, picking out which tracks were your favorite while still learning every lyric to all the songs on the album. Building a CD collection was also fun. Every fucking thing is data mining these days. Drives me fucking crazy. And instead of dealing with the junk mail and the post that this got us a few years ago, now it's on our emails, text messages, robocalls and whatever else. You can't get away from the damn things. Reading the newspaper and magazines used to be just about one of my favorite things. Now it seems pointless to clutter the house with so much paper when I can access all of it online, but of course I don't. I pick and choose just a few articles. I don't really browse the way I would before, and I encounter a lot fewer new or enlightening things. Getting the Sunday New York Times and then going out for brunch and reading it with your friends/dates was such a treat. I used to get so excited when my favorite magazines came in the mail. I'd immediately sit down and leaf through them and see what was worth reading right away and what could wait. Someone replied, reading a newspaper used to be like a curated tour of the news. First the biggest stories of the day, then the big international and national stories, local stories, sports, and finally the arts and the comics. Newspapers are mostly garbage now. Even the Sunday editions can be read in 10 minutes. It used to be a lot harder to bail on things. You'd have to call the person at home and tell them yourself, or at least leave a message if you wanted to be risky. Typically if you were gonna bail, you'd give at least 24 hours notice. Nowadays people can let you know they're bailing last second, since you're always reachable. Someone replied, man, when I was a teenager we'd agree to meet up in town and go to the cinema or whatever, maybe using the landline, or maybe at school in the week. Then Saturday morning you'd leave the house, walk or bus into town, and go hang around the meeting place until the agreed time. I was unreachable from the moment I left the house, but I never worried about people not turning up. The fact that people would be waiting for you meant that you didn't dare drop out. It felt completely normal at the time, but the idea of doing that now seems crazy. I get a bit anxious if I go for a walk around the block and realize I left my phone at home. Someone else replied, or better yet, just not message you or anything nowadays. I was gonna hang with someone I haven't seen in years and we even made plans to go get some lunch. Never messaged me back about what time. You had to call someone's home phone number and talk to their parents first before you could talk to your friend. Video game cheat codes either spread by gaming magazines or by word of mouth. Sometimes that word of mouth was bullshit. I'm looking at you, Tomb Raider new cheat code. News only being on at 6 PM. That was it. Now we have 6 hours of local news and 24 hours of cable news. Not being bombarded all day with news. And when you saw breaking news on the screen you knew some serious shit went down. Edit. My old brain interpreted pre-internet as when you were a kid. So yeah, cable news was a thing, or internet. But you all know what I mean. When I was a kid, local news was noon for 30 minutes and 6 p.m. for 30 minutes. Then network news was 6:39 for 39 minutes. I think local might have had an 11 p.m. too, but I don't remember for sure. Edit 2. For those sending me private messages, I cannot see them. Some Reddit glitch or something. Anyway, thanks for the awards and allowing me to wax nostalgic. Peace. Someone replied, that last sentence honestly is the biggest difference. A while ago I installed the app for the biggest news outlet in my country. I quickly turned off notifications for it when in a single week it had notified me of breaking news twice. Once because some random celebrity couple I don't care about broke up after 15 years, and once because of some football match. Meanwhile, in that same week there was some natural disaster in Asia that took many lives and displaced many more, but there was no notification for that. It seems like I have a very different definition of breaking news. Someone else replied, it also gave you time to process information, especially when it was something bad/major. Now we are constantly bombarded with what seems like bad thing after bad thing, and then everyone's opinion on it all over social media. Nothing mattered. If you said you were going to be there, you made sure to be there. None of this Facebook invites that everyone blows off without any form of social repercussions. If you said you were going to go and didn't go, you were the asshole and everyone knew it. Video rental stores. I have such good memories of going to our local Mr. Movie with my dad, renting a sci-fi flick, and getting candy at the checkout. Streaming is cool and all, but I do miss video rental stores, mainly for nostalgic reasons. Leaving home and just being gone for the day. No cell phones. If there were cameras, it was really different. You used them to take pictures of things, or had people take pictures of you. But there was no social media to preoccupy your mind. It was just doing something. And whoever you were with was who you were with. Someone replied, piggybacking off being with whoever you were with, there used to be more incentive to be out and about. If you weren't there, you missed it. Also, hangout spots being a thing because it was the only way to be in the know. Someone else replied, also, hangout spots being a thing because it was the only way to be in the know. Yeah, that was so cool. Gonna go down to the usual hangout and spot and see who's there. Sometimes everyone was there and sometimes no one. You could chill out alone to see if someone pops by, or have your own adventure and link up later. The local mall was always so much fun back then, because there were almost always going to be people there. You and your buddies could go check out the arcade, eat at the food court, peruse the game shops. It's sure not like that anymore. This whole thread made me feel extremely nostalgic, and I'm really enjoying reading all the replies to this comment. Thank you all for sharing your memories with me. They all make me smile wistfully. My former housemate, who is 20 years younger than me, and I both left our phones at home by accident one day. So we kept on keeping on doing the day's activities. Some errands and some wandering around. At one point, she turned to me and said, so this is what the 80s were like. Someone replied, I highly recommend deleting Facebook or any other non-anonymous social media apps from your phone. The first week you get antsy because you keep getting the feeling you need to look at your phone, but after that the peace of mind is bliss. The world shrinks back down to the people you see every day or make a point to visit/call. It's wonderful. So wonderful in fact, that I'm considering doing a trial run of dropping Reddit for 2 weeks and seeing if my mental state improves from it. Not being overwhelmed by choice. Don't get me wrong, having nearly every form of media downloadable is great, but back in the day, I rented a video game, and I played that video game as much as I could. Now, it's hard to give it more than 2 seconds before I try one of the 20,000 games I have access to. New Game Plus used to be cool. Now, I'm happy if just beat the game. Someone replied, pre-internet, go down to the local Blockbuster, spend as long as you can picking the perfect movie or game to rent, then go home and setting in for the evening/weekend. Choices really had more of an impact. Picked a shitty movie? Well, you either suck it up and watch that shitty movie and get your money's worth. Maybe it's actually a weird gem, or accept there isn't enough time to go back and get another movie to rent. post-internet. First you pick a streaming service, then you browse all the new movies and or TV series available to you, then look up that movie/show your friend recommended you, or maybe see what popular movie/show everyone is watching, and contemplate checking it out, but end up watching another episode of Scrubs/Futurama before falling asleep to it auto-playing. While I may now have near infinite choices at my fingertips, it just means I'm more likely to pick something I'm familiar with and just watch the same things over and over again. Back in the day, I'd just sometimes flip on HBO or some other movie channel and just check out what movie's playing. Got to see some weird movies, but also found interesting ones as well. I miss having an attention span of more than 3 seconds. Someone replied, "It's so weird. I can only vaguely remember what it feels like to not have a smartphone and to be alone and think, wondering what my friends are doing and if they'd like to do something on the weekend. We'd have to talk during lunch break at school and plan it. Trying to find the answer to a math problem. Having to figure it out by rereading the problem and explanations 5 times. Not being accessible to my boss 14 hours a day." Someone replied, "Yes, 100% yes. Hell, not being accessible in general. Now with everything there's this expectation that you have to be available 24/7 and always reply. Friends, family, and of course the job being the worst part of it. From time to time I still just disconnect everything, but then I'm the dickhead that takes days to reach back. I miss the time when that was just normal." The Saturday morning cartoons and sitcoms I watched. You could be the cool guy that remembered shit, like who was in what movie or the themes to TV shows. Now it makes everyone that guy and it's not special. There's a lot of little things like that. Sitting down in the evening to read a book because there was nothing on TV. With today's streaming services, there is so much more media being produced, and it's all available at the click of a button, whenever you damn well please. It can easily become an endless loop of what to watch next. I remember when there used to be 8 channels. You either had to watch General Hospital or find something better to do. Being able to reply to thing later, rather than immediately. Technology made us available at the touch of a button. Bringing our electronic leashes with us everywhere means that, if we don't answer the phone, you can guarantee you're gonna get a second call, a voicemail, a text, and maybe even an email, asking where you are, or why you're not answering your phone. Before the internet, people with crazy ideas lost confidence when they could not find others who agreed. On the internet, you can easily find at least 100 people who will agree to something, even a totally crazy idea. As a holdover from the olden days, the 100 people who agree with you seems like a lot. Someone replied, "In a way, the internet makes us realize how not special we really are, lol." My formative years were the 1980s. I remember like yesterday going to study in Paris my junior year of college. I got off the plane with no cell phone, no internet, a Let's Go Paris book, and just a hostel address written on a piece of paper I'd stuck in a French dictionary. I did not know a single person in all of France. I had $500 of cash stuck in a money belt. The belt was tight and sweaty, but that money had to last me for at least a month, until I could find a part-time job with my lousy French. My credit card was my father's credit card numbers written down on a piece of paper. He told me I could only use it to buy a plane ticket home in an emergency. I remember standing in the airport and having this powerful emotion of being 21 years old, scared shitless, but in absolutely completely control of my own destiny. There was absolutely nobody who could come rushing to my aid if I needed it. I was 100% on my own. I'm actually very thankful for that experience. I found the hostel. I found a job. I made friends. I learned French. I made it all on my own, which was just a big boost in life confidence. I have no doubt, if I'd had a cell phone I would have called my parents on day 2, told them it was too hard, and been on the next plane home. But I had no other choice but to succeed. People would forget things you did that were maybe not the smartest. The effort that people made to stay in touch. Now, it is effortless, but people don't bother with anything but social media. People just stopping by your house. You would be just sitting there drinking beer, or scratching your ass and boom, someone's at the door. The ability to start over. I moved a lot. Every move I could reinvent myself. Bookworm, punk, preppy. I got to try out lots of aspects of my personality and my past wasn't a factor. I also miss patience. I get annoyed at TV ads now. Radio makes you listen to the whole song, even when you sooner like it. I'm far too comfortable with instant gratification. Edit. Thank for the award. Someone replied, spot on. I think especially when young it's genuinely damaging to be locked into an identity by the stuff you have said/done years ago. How are we supposed to grow? Also being judged by the norms of a previous era which are not cool now. Like it or not, people conform to social norms, and these have changed rapidly. What you said/did in the 90s/zeros may not be representative of the person you are or want to be today, and I'm sick of all the retrospective judgment being applied. Playing outside until it gets dark. This one pertains to cell phones. Before cell phones, when we just had landlines only, I can remember everyone's phone numbers by heart. Now with my smartphone I can only remember 3 phone numbers. Patience. Waiting for the next episode of your favorite show or newest video of your favorite band. Looking forward to seeing people. The act of looking information up and being curious. Waiting for that phone call. When you would take the long phone cord and stretch it around the corner into the bathroom so you could talk in private. It seemed like there was so much more to look forward to. Playing kickball with all the neighborhood kids on the block. Using addresses on the sidewalks as bases. Having to run home cause the street lights came on. Then mom inviting friends to come have dinner with us after. The fact that we had to find shit to do. Now I'm in front of a screen like 10 hours a day. After I'm done with the computer, I go watch TV. It's pretty absurd really. Even kids get a phone and an iPad at like 5 years old, with parents saying it's impossible to stop. Kids today will really miss out on playing games outside. Games like War, Kick the Can, Ghosts in the Darkness. I think kids today will miss out on being bored, because it was on some of those days I had the most fun. Shit you can't plan, or watch on a screen, or loading up a backpack and going out for an adventure with your friends, or biking to school just for something to do. I dunno, I'm only in my late 30s, so I saw the entire transition between pre-internet, dial-up and now, and I remember thinking how the world hadn't caught on to the internet yet, but it was coming. Now, I'm no longer so enthusiastic about it being such a good thing. We've used the most advanced tool that connects all of the people around the world and only created more division.